If I Ran the Schools, written by Gene Weisfeld. Illustrated by Asher Weisfeld, Beatrice Weisfeld, Ilana Pereira Weisfeld, and Cosmo Pereira Weisfeld. The schools are in trouble. It's sad, but it's true. Though the people who run them are trying. They do. But if I ran the schools, said young Carol McFoo, I'd make a few changes. That's just what I'd do. And somehow or other, I know I could find better ways kids could learn so it wouldn't be a grind. Kids sitting for hours, just stuck in their seat. You see all the time, it all just repeats. You see things like that in just any old school. It's really old-fashioned. I want something cool. I'd make the seats comfy, so to sit's not a chore. But why bother with chairs? Let 'em sit on the floor, or under their tables, stretched out on the carpet. They'll get so much work done, they'll take off like a rocket. Handing out worksheets. What a waste, what a shame. Let's learn reading and math by playing a game. To learn how to spell can be boring and dull, but playing word games, now that would be swell. My new school, McFoo School, won't make the kids balk. My new school, McFoo School, will make the kids talk. They'll talk about reading, they'll talk about math. They'll talk about science while taking a bath. They'll talk about adding and minusing too. They'll talk about timesing and dividing by 2. And that's just the start. I'll do better than that. I'll make obstacle courses for kids who are fat and skinny and short and are slow and are fast and are big and are little, often first, often last. Both for boys and for girls, it'll be lots of fun. They'll be proud of themselves when they see what they've done. Kids who learn facts but do not remember don't do well on tests and forget by September. Oh, they may pass a test, but won't get the idea that thinking and dreaming are nothing to fear. It's what makes us all special and better and proud, so we don't become robots or get lost in the crowd. Then the kids will sit up and they'll say, "This is cool. This young Carol McFoo is nobody's fool. She sees what we need and she knows we can do it. If we all work together, we'll be done in a minute." Kids would learn at their own pace. They'd all get to know just what they are learning, no matter how slow. There'd be no more rushing to finish on cue when lots of the kids just don't have a clue. Kids who are noisy and loud and a trouble need someplace to go, their very own bubble. A small space, so comfy, so safe, and so near that these out-of-bound kids will find freedom from fear. They won't keep on fighting, they won't be disruptive, they'll all settle down and become quite constructive. There'll be much more outside time to everyone's pleasure. The research is clear, all the kids do much better. The more they can run, the more play with zest, the better they'll do when they take their next test. Teachers and principals will all get along, 'cause working together is what makes a school strong. Supporting each other is what matters the most. It turns schools around and lets the kids boast how they're learning and growing and using their brains to make themselves smarter while avoiding the pains of boredom and rote, thinking learning's a chore when they all could be joyfully learning to soar. Big kids would help littles on a regular basis. Being role models puts smiles on faces. As the bigs help the littles, their friendships will grow. And all through the school, everybody will know to be nicer and kinder and friendlier too, to say please and thank you and how do you do. There'll be much less crying and whining and booing, but many more smiles and lots of yoo-hooing. There'll be no more bullying. There'll be no more strife, and things will be better in everyone's life. If I ran the schools, said young Carol McFoo, what a wonderful place it would be. Yes, it's true. They'll use the new smart boards to do wondrous things, like make friends in Paris, La Paz, and Beijing. They'll go into space. They'll go underground. They'll go deep-sea diving, where there isn't a sound. They'll hear African drumming, mariachi and soul, Andean flutes, and good rock and roll. They'll meet lots of people from all around the globe, light-skinned and dark-skinned and brown-skinned and gold. They'll see turbans and xiangs and burqas and shorts, parkas and trousers and dresses and skirts, long flowing robes and clothing so pretty, they'll all ooh and ah and even be giddy. They'll learn about black holes, how particles fare, why the sun shines and why there's air. How rockets take off and why astronauts float, how bees pollinate flowers, and how to build a speedboat. They'll learn about writers and poets and artists, how we all have a spark of our own that shows brightest. When given a chance to spring forth and bloom, they'll give off such a glow, they'll light up the room. They'll learn about puppies and kittens and babies and songs full of gladness and stories of maybes. They'll all learn to sing, to give out a great sound, while laughter and gladness and joy will abound. They'll make up experiments with things from their houses. They'll run rats through mazes, or maybe use mouses. They'll blow up balloons, have balloony races, to learn about speed and distance and paces. They'll look and they'll measure. They'll find out a lot. They'll use lots of numbers. On graphs they will plot the results of their experiments, the good and the bad. But they'll all learn a lot, and of that they'll be glad. They'll build things in class out of matchsticks and straws and glue and pipe cleaners and a bunch of gewgaws. After drawing up plans to make sure that they're right, they'll figure out length, they'll figure out height. They'll measure the volume, the width, and the sum. They'll test them for strength and for weakness, by gum. Sometime together, sometimes alone. They'll all be so proud when they see how they've grown. They'll start out each day with some moving around, while they'll learn about things that live in the ground, or science or arithmetic, or what makes things burn, so they'll be healthy and focused and ready to learn. They'll get exercise as they go place to place, hopping or skipping or running in place. But they'll be very careful, so no harm will befall other kids or their teachers or folks in the hall. To write down ideas, it's quite hard, I must say. It's very frustrating. It makes a long, boring day. It keeps kids from learning and dreaming and thinking. They'll all do much better without ever blinking. Teachers will write what kids think on the board, for all of the kids to both read and applaud. They'll use a new program that writes what they think. It's 2016 and we're still using ink? They'll all be so full of their thoughts and ideas, not having to write will quench all their fears. Writing won't stop them. They'll be able to say what they know, what they think, what they hope every day. They'll still learn to write, punctuate, and to spell, but it won't break their spirits. They'll do very well. And lots of the homework will just have to go. For the kids who hate school, they already will know if they can't get it in class, they won't get it at home. They won't do it, won't get it, or will leave it alone. So much of it's tedious, worthless, and dull. For kids who hate school, there just isn't a lull. From feelings of failure, frustration, and pain, no wonder they give up, drop out, and complain. I'd make all the teachers much nicer and kinder by cutting their paperwork down to one binder. It's all just some foolishness, pushed by some clerks who don't care about kids, just about their perks. And the best thing of all is it won't cost a dime, just imagination and courage and time. Yes, if I ran the schools, said young Carol McFoo, kids would love coming and learning, it's true. They'd all gain the skills to be smart and be wise, to be happy and healthy, and live good long lives.